Hi everyone, today's Artrageous art lesson is called Multicultural Paper Mache Mask. Our goal is for you to be able to design and create a three-dimensional mask that's inspired by a culture using the elements of art. And of course, the media is one of the messiest but most fun, called paper mache. Paper mache is actually French for chewed paper, but you definitely do not have to chew up your paper. What you do need to get started is either a mold, like the one that I have. This is a mold of a face, the shape of a face made out of plastic. And the first thing you need to do is get a piece of tape and write your name and teacher code on the front or the inside of the mask. I'm putting this tape on the inside, so I'm going to put the paper mache on the outside. Now remember, paper mache is really messy. It's also called art paste. I order mine from School Specialty. It's a powder that you mix with water, so it won't go bad like flour and some other materials that people use for paper mache. So I start laying down newspaper for my placemat, and then I get newspaper, and you want to start tearing it into small pieces. I like tearing it because it gives it a rough edge. Once you've torn enough pieces of the newspaper, then you're ready to actually start dipping each piece one by one in glue. And you're going to either cover the outside of the mask or the inside. So you can see now I'm tearing the pieces. That one's probably too big. So you want to have fairly small pieces, about the size of an inch and a half. Make sure that each piece overlaps and that it doesn't have too much paper mache, or make sure that it has enough paper mache. So you can also use a paintbrush to dip into the paper mache to put onto your mold, but you do have to make sure you wash out the paintbrush before it dries, because it will turn kind of like glue. Glue gets hard, so it will ruin the paintbrush. But you can see I'm taking my fingers and I'm smoothing each piece of newspaper so that it actually has the shape of the face. And I do one piece at a time. If you have enough paper mache already on your fingers, you don't even have to dip it into the glue. So you want to overlap your pieces and cover the entire mold. This is just the first layer. If you're actually going to wear the mask, you're going to need maybe 3 or 4 layers of paper mache. One of our goals for this project is to understand art from other cultures and to understand about the motivations of different artists. So when I say culture, I mean the beliefs, customs, and arts that come from a particular group, society, or place or time. So you can pick America, you can pick Japan, any other culture you want. As you guys know, I kind of absolutely love Pokemon. So my newest mask, I actually used a balloon, and I'm doing a Pokemon called the Snorlax. So technically Pokemon comes from Japan, so I can kind of say that this is the Japanese culture. But I definitely had to look up a picture of what the Snorlax looked like, and using a balloon is a little bit different than using the mold. Your paper mache is going to go on the outside, but it will tend to fall over as you're gluing your pieces on. So you'll need a cup or something to put it onto to steady it so that it doesn't fall over. I think I used about 4 layers because I really want to wear my mask. So I'm dipping each piece in a layer, and I figured out that if you cover both sides of the balloon with paper mache, you can actually end up making 2 different masks out of one balloon. Now, paper mache takes at least 24 to 48 hours to dry. But once mine was dry, I actually took a sharp pencil. I looked up a picture of my Snorlax and I popped the balloon. And you can see I can just throw away the piece of the balloon and cut off the back piece of the mask that I'm going to use for my Mardi Gras cultural design. Now, for my Snorlax mask, I took the front and I wanted to draw what the face looks like with Sharpie. So I drew the outside of the face, and I drew the eyes, the mouth, and any other details that I needed to add to it before I started painting. Now the paint that we're using is called acrylic paint. It's very thick and it does stain, so you need to make sure that not only that you don't get paint on your clothes or on the floor or on the table, but also that you wash out your paintbrushes very thoroughly when it's cleanup time.